So with the news that the shape is going to be getting some base kit changes in an upcoming patch, I thought it'd be fun to share a couple of my change ideas I would like to see from my boy, my main, Michael Audrey Myers.
Michael Audrey Myers.
I have 22 change ideas I would like to share with you guys today, and I'm not petitioning for all these changes to come because there's a lot, and also it might make Michael a little OP, but I just wanted to throw it out there and see what you guys think about it. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about these change ideas. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Whatever. Starting off with my first one, and something I think everybody wants at this point, and that is a model rework to Myers, because Michael looks very weird visually in many different ways. The main one being that he's just a little too big in my opinion. Michael in Dead by Daylight is a big boy. He's like 7'5", built like a truck, which is very weird because it's not very accurate to the movie that he does come from, which is Halloween 1978. In that movie, he's average height, very skinny, baggy ass overalls. You know, he looks like a normal dude. But in Dead by Daylight, he's a walking steroid and is just very off-putting. So if they were to shrink down Michael a little bit, make him a little skinnier, and also a better mask, obviously, I think he would look great. Now, the biggest counter argument I could think of for that is that it would kind of take away from Michael's stalking capabilities, because if he was shorter, it'd be a lot harder to stalk over loops, which I don't think is actually true because Michael's camera is in his like top chest area. So if they were to shrink down Michael, make his camera actually level up with his face, I don't think it would be that big of a difference. Something else that would make making Michael's character model a little smaller would help out with is his stealth capability, because Michael being so big, he's so easily able to be seen across the entire map, especially against good survivors. It's kind of frustrating at times because I've been in situations where I'm stalking it from a very weird angle halfway across the map and survivors can still see me clear as day. And I'm thinking to myself, if I was just a little smaller, I think I could get away with this. For my next change, and something else I think would really help out with Michael's stealth, and that is to hide his red stain when he's actively stalking a survivor. Now, this wouldn't matter in tier 1 because obviously he doesn't have a red stain, but when you're in tier 2 and you're trying to get as much stalk as possible, especially if you have like the lock of hair, eerie tuft of hair, tombstone, all that stuff, it'd be really nice to be able to get rid of that red light beaming out of your face. Theoretically speaking, I think it could be the difference between getting a tier 3 and not. I think it's that big of a difference. And keep in mind, when I say actively stalking, I don't mean like you can just hold your stalk while you're going around a corner at like Shack or something like that and just completely hide your red stain from mind gaming. I don't mean like that. I mean when you're actively staring at a survivor, it just disappears. I think that'd be really helpful. For my third change idea, and I actually got this idea from Stalky Boy in his interview with the fake Bonnet, but instead of making us 99 our tier 3, make it so we actually have an activation button instead. Because I know I've had times, and a lot of Myers mains can probably relate to this, that I just accidentally pop my tier 3, especially if I have like the double stalking speed add-ons with the J. Myers Memorial and the Judas Journal add-on. Like I've had times where I've accidentally popped my tier 3 and just completely wasted it, or I just didn't have it in a certain situation when I actually needed it. It's even worse when you accidentally pop your tier 3 when everybody's injured and everybody's just looking at you like, what the fuck do you do that for? And like, I didn't mean to. It doesn't really happen all that much anymore, but I know for at least new Myers players that would really help out a lot. So, and also would help out in chase as well, because I know we've all had those situations where we had our tier 3 not quite 99, it was like 98. We go to stalk them, we slow down significantly, they get to the window, we stab it, we stab the window instead, and they just get away scot-free. It's so annoying. So activation button would completely get rid of that. I'm actually really proud of this next change idea, and I really want to know what you guys think about it. But my idea is to make it so anytime Michael tears down from tier 3 to tier 2, he gains 5% extra stalking speed, stackable up to 25%. So by the time you've popped at least 5 tier 3s, you have a base kit J. Myers Memorial. That'd be a godsend in my opinion. I think it'd be super rewarding, especially for experienced Myers mains who can pop multiple tier 3s in any given match. And also I think it would kind of mitigate the whole Myers gets weaker as the match goes along, because for those who don't know, Michael is the only character in the game that can actually completely lose his power. It doesn't happen much anymore because they've doubled the stalking cap, but he's still the only character that can actually just completely lose it. So instead of Michael getting weaker as the match goes along, make it so he's getting actually stronger as the match goes along. For this next idea, I actually have 2 wrapped up into one. but my idea is to make the jewelry box and the jewelry add-on base kit. If you don't know what those are, they're basically just the add-ons that increase Michael's movement speed while stalking by 20 and 30% for a total of 50%. Now, obviously, these are not going to give you that much of an advantage. I'd rather bring extra stalking speed or extra tier 3, but stalking with these two add-ons feels so much smoother. You're able to stalk around rocks a lot better, stalk around corners a lot better. It just feels so good to have these two add-ons equipped that I would love to have them base kit. I'll put the numbers on screen right now, what that would do to both the passive and the active stalking movement speed. But moving on, for my 7th change idea, I have something that will actually get rid of a very overlooked but also very outdated part about Michael's kit, and that is the stalking priority system. For those who don't know, whenever Michael is stalking more than one survivor, the speed at which you stalk is determined by whoever is closest to you. Now, this would have benefited Michael greatly before he got his buff, but now that he stalks a lot faster from afar than up close, it kind of hinders his power just a little bit. It doesn't really happen all that much, but when it does happen, it does feel a little bad. So if they were to change it so it prioritizes the farthest survivor from you, I think that would take out at least a little bit of clunkiness involved with Michael's stalk. For my next 2 change ideas, these actually both involve tier 1, and even though I have 2 ideas, I don't think that both of them should be put into the game because it might make tier 1 Myers a little oppressive, especially if Scratch Mirror is involved. But my idea is to either make it so Michael has a normal lunge in tier 1 or is able to get Bloodlust in tier 1. Now, there's really not much to say about this other than just increasing the lethality of one of the weakest characters in the game being tier 1 Myers would just feel a lot better and open up a lot more gameplay variety. Like, I would love to play tier 1 a lot more often, but it's just so restricted that you're more so just trying to get out of it as fast as you can instead of actually utilizing it. Like, I would love to play out the first half of the match sneaking up on people and actually chasing them, and then if I chose to do so, I can pop tier 2 and play out the rest of the match as normal Myers. That'd be really fun, but you really can't do it in this current day and age. You can kind of do it, but it's not going to feel that great. So if they were to change it so you can actually chase a little bit in tier 1, then Myers would get so much more interesting. Speaking of lunges, my next 2 change ideas involve increasing Michael's lunge in both tier 2 and tier 3. Considering that the shape does not have a chase power whatsoever, and if survivors are smart and just spread out and pre-drop every single pallet, there's really not a lot that Michael can do. And if they were to just increase his lunge just a little bit, I think it would really help him out in chase and kind of bridge the gap between him and these mid-tier killers that can actually chase, like Freddy, Dredge, Huntress, Cenobite, all those guys. So my idea is to increase his tier 2 lunge to his current day tier 3 lunge, which is 0.6 seconds, and to increase his tier 3 lunge just a little bit more to 0.8 seconds, basically a almost 1 second long lunge. That'd be awesome. That's like a base kit coup right there that he can use pretty much anytime he wants to in tier 3. That would cut down so many loops so significantly. It would make it so survivors can't just go from pallet to pallet to pallet to pallet and just pre-drop everything. Before we move on to the add-on change ideas, I have one more for you guys, and it's a bit controversial, so let me know in the comments down below what you think about it. But my idea is to actually make Tombstone base kit. Now, before you go into the comment section and just burn me alive, hear me out for a couple of seconds, because I'm not a guy who actually likes Tombstone all that much. I actually think it's probably one of the most boring add-ons in the entire game, mainly just because it just doesn't offer a lot of interactiveness on both sides. Like for Michael, you're not really doing much other than just staring at survivors for an extended amount of time, and for survivors, they're either getting taken out of the game immediately or they jump into a locker to avoid the tombstone. There's really not much in the interactiveness on both sides, and my idea actually tries to mitigate that a little bit, and here is my idea. Once you have reached tier 3 6 times, you are now able to instantly kill the most stalked survivor. Now, this could be just any survivor. You could have it how it's currently, where you just pop it on anybody's bag and instantly kill them, but I think it's a little bit more fair if you punish the most stalked survivor, because we've all had those teammates that just feed the Myers at the very beginning of the game. They're teabagging, staring him right in the face, letting him stalk them as much as they want, and then he comes around to you, who he has not seen the entire game, pops tier 3 and just takes you out of the game. not very fair, right? So this kind of mitigates that, makes it so you're actually going to get punished if you actually feed the Myers, and the Myers can't befriend one of the survivors. So that's the thing. And then after that, it'll be the second most stalked survivor, the third most stalked survivor, and then the fourth. So theoretically, you could still get Evil Incarnate, but it's just going to be a little more difficult to do so because, you know, you got to find the actual survivor that you want to Mori. And it also adds a little bit of interactiveness for both sides. You're actually going to be able to play out the game before he's able to Mori you. Moving on to the add-on changes, and considering that we're making Tombstone base kit, I've decided to actually just rework this add-on entirely while also still keeping the whole unstoppable force aspect of it intact. But instead of making it so you can just murder somebody on the spot, I've instead made it so it just increases Michael's attributes a little bit. So this is going to be the effect of Judas Tombstone. While in tier 3, your vaulting speed is increased by 25%, your braking speed is increased by 25%, your stun duration is decreased by 25%, and your blind duration is decreased by 25%. And for Tombstone piece, this would just be 15 down the board. This is really the only thing I could have come up with on the top of my head. I had a couple other things like making every gen around you blow up, like how driver license for Ghostface works, but I didn't want to copy and paste an effect from another killer and add it to his add-on, so I just made it do something entirely different and actually add like a whole blinding duration thing that no other killer really has, which I thought was pretty cool. So this is my idea. Let me know if you have any Tombstone ideas in the comments down below. Moving on from that, I actually want to tackle Scratch Mirror for a couple of seconds because, you know, it's a single add-on that doesn't really need all that much to talk about, but I would really like to see them make it so if you wanted to do so, you could get out of tier 1 and play out the rest of the match as tier 2 and tier 3 Myers, without the wall hacks, of course. Because the thing about Scratch Mirror is that now that you can't actually guarantee to go to a map anymore, Scratch Mirror is just so much weaker than it used to be. Like if you put up a Midwich offering, a Larry's offering, you're not guaranteed to go to those maps. You're not even guaranteed to go to an indoor map in the first place, which sucks, and it feels so bad sometimes to get a map that you can't really play on with Scratch Mirror. A lot of Myers players can make it work, but it's really hard to do so. So if they were to make it so if you get a bad map that you really don't want to play Scratch Mirror Myers on and you wanted to do so, you could tier up, get rid of the wall hacks, and play out the match as normal Myers. Another add-on that I don't really need a lot of time to talk about, but I also am very passionate about, and that is Eerie Tuft of Hair. This used to be one of my favorite add-ons to run on Myers, but ever since Michael got his big buff, they kind of gutted it. Instead of making it so it only takes 200% more stock, it now takes 400% more stock. Like if I just want to use this add-on by itself, it takes so damn long to achieve that I'm just crying every time I do. I have to go from some weird ass angle across the entire map and hope that the survivors don't see me just to be able to get this add-on within a reasonable time. Please, behavior, reduce it back down to 200%, because even then, if it's just 200%, that's still 600% more stock that you have to get infinite Tombstone. Please, behavior, do me a favor and just bring it back to its former glory. Thank you. I want to tackle a add-on group that we talked about before, being the jewelry add-ons. And like I said before, these add-ons don't really give you that much of an advantage. It just makes Michael's power feel a lot better. And if you were just to use one of these add-ons, you're kind of throwing just a little bit, because you can get a lot more value out of something like the J. Myers Memorial, the Memorial Flower. I mean, even the Boyfriend's Memo for that matter. You can get so much value out of Boyfriend's Memo before you get any value out of these add-ons. So if they were to rework this add-on group entirely, I would really, really appreciate it. And the only thing I can really come up with is just increasing Michael's braking speed while in tier 3. That's about it. Kind of a monkey brain kind of idea. But for the tacky earrings, while in tier 3, increase your braking speed by 10%. For jewelry, while in tier 3, increase your braking speed by 15%, and for jewelry box, while in tier 3, increase your braking speed by 20%. So if you use two of these add-ons together, you're kind of getting a base kit brutal strength, which is kind of good. I honestly think you get a lot more value out of this rather than just moving faster while stalking. For my last 3 changes, I'm going to be tackling my favorite add-on group in the entire game, being the hair add-ons. If you don't know what these do, these are the add-ons that increase your tier 3 by a couple of seconds with each add-on. For the blonde hair, you get 10 extra seconds. For the hair brush, you get 20 extra seconds. For the hair bow, you get 30 extra seconds. And for the lock of hair, you get 40 extra seconds. The Eerie Tuft of Hair also fits into this category, but that's a whole different add-on. This is post-recording Duke, right? I actually forgot to give a reason for why I think these add-ons need to be adjusted. And the reason being is because even though these add-ons give you different values, they all have the same exact penalty, being 50% more stock, which sucks because there's really no point in using the blonde hair or the hairbrush when the lock of hair and the hair bow exist. I'd much rather use an add-on that gives you more value for the same exact penalty. So any adjustment to make those bottom two add-ons just a little bit more viable would be great. So my idea is to keep lock of hair the same, but decrease the penalty for every add-on below it. So for the hair bow, instead of 50%, it could be 35%. For the hairbrush, it could be 25%. And for the blonde hair, it could be 15%. And with this change, I can actually use these add-ons a lot more often. Like, I have thousands upon thousands of blonde hairs that I'm not using just because they're not worth using. I'd love to recommend people use the blonde hair and the memorial flower or the dead rabbit and the hairbrush, but I can't because the penalties are just too steep. So behavior, if you can do me the solid and just tweak these add-ons, I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, that is about it. I am extremely lightheaded right now, but let me know what you thought about my ideas in the comments down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you want to make a few tweaks or anything like that? Let me know. I would love to read it. I'll see you guys in the next one, and Loomis, send us out.
God damn you.